Breaking tonight, the deadly shooting at a dorm at Kentucky State University. At least one person is dead, another critically injured. Students placed on lockdown on campus, a suspect in custody. What we know at this hour. Inside the major arrest, the newly released body camera video of the moment officers confronted Luigi Mangione for the very first time. You'll hear him speak what he told officers before he was taken into custody. New images of his handwritten notes and the gun prosecutors say he used to kill United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. President Trump's rally making his pitch that all is good with the economy. We speak with some of his supporters now frustrated over rising costs at the grocery store. Dangerous storms from coast to coast. Out west, neighborhoods underwater, rivers pushed to the brink. The dire forecast, it's likely going to get worse. And at this hour, fast-moving clippers racing across the Midwest and Northeast. Trapped in quicksand. It's not just in movies. Incredible drone footage as rescuers race to free a hiker. How they got him out. The race to save a whale caught in fishing gear off the East Coast. We speak with the biologist who was first at the scene to help free that endangered animal. And is everything really better with butter? The ice cream dipped in butter now going viral. We put it to a taste test. Plus, the investigation into Instacart, why the same products from the same stores might cost customers totally different prices. Top Story starts right now. And good evening. I'm Ellison Barber in for Tom Llamas. We're following breaking news as we come on the air tonight. A shooting on a college campus in Kentucky, leaving at least one person dead. Kentucky State University placed on lockdown as gunshots rang out. Police cars surrounding that campus. Students now speaking about the moment they heard that gunfire.
I heard him let two off, and after that, it just was crazy. Seeing him laying down, it's crazy. You shouldn't have to see that on the college campus.
A gunman reportedly opening fire at a dorm, sending students scrambling for shelter. Police say at least one person is dead and another is in critical condition. It all began this afternoon at the historically black university in Frankfort, Kentucky. That's just east of Louisville. Our Emily Ikeda is tracking the late-breaking details and starts off our coverage tonight.
Tonight, chaos on campus following a deadly shooting at Kentucky State University in Frankfort.
They got an active shooter at the Young building. I think they've got him detained.
Frankfort police confirming one person died and another was transported to the hospital after shots rang out at a dorm, officials say, in the heart of the 1,000-plus acre campus with 2,200 students. It happened just after 3 in the afternoon. Anthony Jones heard the gunfire.
I just heard two shots and seen out the window up there. I just seen everybody running down. About over there, I ran down, seen what was happening.
With the help of campus police and the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, authorities secured the campus and have a suspect in custody.
I heard they had 2 victims. They were attempting to evacuate from the transport.
This was not a mass shooting or a random incident based on what I've been told, and the suspected shooter is already in custody.
Students in the middle of final exams this week shocked by the semester's tragic end.
Regular college students just chilling, kicking it, studying. Where we got finals this week, and then boom, it just happened. It's crazy. Just can't believe it happened on college campus.
And Emily joins us now on set. Emily, I know you've been waiting for officials to start a press conference this evening, but I also understand you have some new reporting about that shooting victim who survived.
Yeah, that's right, Ellison. Officials say that the individual is in stable but critical condition, with the governor underscoring tonight that there is no ongoing threat. As I mentioned, the suspect is in custody. We are waiting for police to give us an update at any minute now.
NBC's Emily Ikeda on that breaking news. Thank you. And for the first time tonight, we are getting a look at the body camera footage from the day of Luigi Mangione's arrest. The video shows the moments police confronted the alleged murderer at a Pennsylvania McDonald's. Mangione pulling down his mask and seemingly handing them a fake ID. Here's NBC's Stephanie Gosk with that video.
Tonight, the moment Luigi Mangione is first confronted by police in a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. This body cam video released publicly for the first time.
Yes, sir. There you go. Put the mask on real quick for me. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
The restaurant's manager, the one who called 911.
What's your name? Mark. What is it? Mark. Mark? Yes, sir. Mark what? Rosario. Rosario? Someone called. They thought you were suspicious.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is your ID on you? Yes.
Mangione then calmly pulls out his wallet and hands the officer a fake New Jersey driver's license.
Thought she looked like someone.
One of the responding officers calling in the license numbers and learning it's a fake.
26, 27, 29.
Prosecutors say Mangione had been on the run for nearly 5 days after allegedly murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He's pleaded not guilty to both state and federal murder charges. During a pretrial hearing this week, the court released new photos of items police say they found in Mangione's backpack, including the alleged murder weapon along with a silencer, and a handwritten escape plan, according to the prosecution, with messages to pluck eyebrows, change hat, and keep momentum. FBI slower overnight.
The evidence that they've amassed so far shows that this is an individual who spent a great deal of time plotting out not only a criminal act, but the escape as well.
But images released by the NYPD in the days following the murder may have been what gave him away.
I have a customer here that some other customers were suspicious of, that he looked like the CEO shooter from New York.
The officer who first spoke to him testified that as soon as Mangione pulled down that mask, he knew it was the suspect the NYPD was looking for.
And Stephanie Gosk joins us now with more. So, Stephanie, we just heard from Mangione's defense team. They are angry that this video was released. Explain that.
Yeah, they certainly are, Ellison. They filed a letter with the court, and they said that, in their words, there is a substantial probability that Mangione's right to a fair trial will be jeopardized by this body cam. What they're concerned about is that a future jury could see it and potentially be prejudiced against their client. There has been a lot of back and forth over this body cam video during this pretrial hearing. The judge originally said it would all be sealed. Apparently, he changed his mind, and the defense team is not happy. Allison?
Stephanie Gosk, thank you. Let's stay on this story for a minute and bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Danny, let's start with just what we have heard from the defense team there. What does that mean? Will they have grounds to challenge this? They're frustrated, but do you think the judge misstepped in releasing this?
Yeah, I sympathize with the defense team's frustration. I mean, it's not typical to release evidence, especially in a massive high-profile case like this. And they have a real argument that the release of this evidence could taint any potential future jury pool, because by the time this case gets to trial, all of this video would have been available to people who are potential jurors. So I share in the defense's frustration. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because I am a defense attorney. But at the same time, the defense has a very good point, especially in a case like this where the prosecutors have just so much evidence. This was a risk, releasing this evidence, that they just didn't need to take.
Let's talk about the video, though, since we have it and we're watching it play back here. You see Mangione seemingly on a laptop, putting it down, pulling his mask down when he's asked to do so by that officer. They ask his name. He gives one. Then he hands them an ID. We were talking earlier. You said that was a critical mistake. Would they have caught him if this didn't happen?
This is almost like a law school essay of these hypothetical facts, because you have an example of a classic police-citizen encounter. What the Constitution assumes is that when police come up to you and say, hello, who are you, what's your name? In theory, you're free to stand up and leave. But we all know in practice that's not how people feel, because officers are standing there, they have sidearms, and in this case, there are no less than 12 to 13 officers who show up. And really where Mangione makes a critical mistake is when he hands over that license, because in Pennsylvania, handing over a forgery, an ID like that itself is a felony. And after that, after they check that ID, then they have at least probable cause to detain him for that. That is problematic for Mangione.
All right. NBC's Danny Savalos on that. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let's head now to Pennsylvania, where tonight President Trump is making his pitch to Americans on the economy. Here's a live look inside the Mount Airy Casino Resort in Mount Pocono, where the president is holding a campaign-style event. Recent polling has shown growing dissatisfaction with the way the president has handled the economy. According to the latest NBC News poll, 63% of registered voters say the president has fallen short. NBC's senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake joins us now from that ballroom. Garrett, the economy, it was a key part of Trump's 2024 campaign. What is his message to voters there tonight?
Ellison, the president is taking the stage as we speak, and if the earlier speakers at this rally tonight are any indication, I think we're going to hear the president mostly declaring victory on the economy, touting what he believes are the administration's successes, passing things like no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, and argue that the administration's steps to lower gasoline prices and help raise wages will ultimately lead to a better economy, despite the rising prices that have bedeviled him just as they bedeviled his predecessor, and that have so frustrated voters all around the country.
Garrett, Pennsylvania, it's a key swing state. You have spent so much time there over the years covering different campaigns, including President Trump's. He won this state back in 2024. How are the people you've talked to feeling about his second term so far?
You know, they're frustrated, Ellison. I mean, I talked to a dozen or so voters around the state earlier today. Some Trump supporters, some not. All of them were frustrated about rising prices and the fact that it just doesn't seem like there's anything Washington, under Democratic or Republican control, can really do to help them. In fact, I talked to one Trump self-described super fan who we first met back in 2020, and even he felt like Trump needs to focus on this issue a little bit more. Listen to my conversation with Dave Mitchko.
Do you think he's paying enough attention to the economy?
Honestly, I would say no. I think he's stretched himself out a little bit.
He's a little too thin?
Yeah, he's into everything. He's trying to the miracle fix,
So, Ellison, a voter like Dave's not going anywhere. He's with Donald Trump and now with the Republican Party through thick and thin. But the concern for this White House is some of those more marginal voters, what we call the low propensity voters, might feel like their vote for Trump didn't do enough. It didn't matter enough on these issues like affordability. And maybe they're not going to show up to vote for those House races here where there's so many competitive races or other races like that in the future. That's a concern for the White House and for the Republican Party, since they are at the controls of everything back in D.C.
All right, NBC's Garrett Hake reporting there. Thank you. Let's listen in as the president speaks for a moment.
Pennsylvania, and I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible Commonwealth with so many proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. So am I. I'm a proud hard worker. I'm a proud patriot, but you're a proud patriot. Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great reception. You know, we're on to expose what happened recently when we took over. You know, it's 10 months. And already we have the largest investment ever made in the history of not our country, of any country anywhere in the world. Think of that. But let me begin by wishing each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all of that stuff. Remember when I started in 2015, I made my first speech, and I said, we're going to bring back Christmas. Remember, the radical left wanted to get rid of the word Christmas. I said, I don't think that's going to work out. And we did it, and now everybody's saying Merry Christmas again. But just over 1 year ago today, with your help, we saved America. That's what happened. We saved it. In the most important election victory possibly in the history of our country was going down. We were a country that was being scoffed at, laughed at all over the world. We won all 7. Thank you, Charlie. She said, and you saved us. Who are you? Stand up, please. Who said that?
Speak. All right, we'll keep monitoring the president's speech there in Pennsylvania. But for now, let's talk about the overall state of the economy with NBC's senior business correspondent, Christine Romans. She joins us now from Washington, D.C. I mean, Christine, let's just start broadly. The president touting, not in specifics, but so far in that little bit we heard, the great success he feels that he has had since taking office. But earlier in an interview with Politico, the president, he gave his economy an A+++ rating. But we see that polling we mentioned earlier from NBC News that many Americans do not agree with him. What are they feeling when it comes to prices and inflation, and what is the reality in terms of the numbers here?
I mean, people feel the price they're paying for things, and you have to really kind of zoom out and look at how prices have raced higher over the past 5 years. And it was that concern about affordability that was something that really dogged the Biden administration, Bidenomics, and Donald Trump campaigned and said, I will fix it on day one. What you're going to hear tonight is the president blaming Biden for high prices and saying that they have solved the inflation problem. But do people believe it? Do people feel it? That is the big question. You look at electricity, you look at housing, you look at food, you look at all of these categories over the past 5 years, and you can see how much prices have risen. Auto insurance, 65%. Those prices I'm telling you about here over the past 5 years are non-negotiable prices. Those are the kinds of things that people have to grapple with. The president will talk, I'm sure, about lower gas prices year over year. That is true. The White House talks about lower cereal prices, lower ham prices. Indeed, there are some categories that have gone down over the past year, but what Americans are really feeling is the accumulation of several years of rising prices and no feeling that there's an end in sight to that.
So, Christine, when the president says he inherited these high prices from the previous administration, based on the numbers, has it been true? I mean, what have we really seen over the past year? I mean, you put some numbers up there, but when he's saying we saved America 1 year ago, have we seen prices continue to climb?
Look, you saw inflation spike up to more than 9% in 2022. That was when the Federal Reserve was raising interest rates aggressively, and the COVID world was sort of unraveling. And then by the end of the Biden administration, inflation got back down to 3%, which is closer to normal, not there yet. And then, by the beginning of the Trump administration, you saw about 2.3% inflation, but now it's back to 3%. It has been reaccelerating. So watching this very closely here, how tariffs and how the economy overall might be feeding into higher prices for some of these items.
You mentioned interest rates, the Federal Reserve, the final interest rate decision of 2025. That's expected to come tomorrow. Could the Fed cut rates one more time this year?
No guarantee. Anything could happen. But the betting wisdom on Wall Street is that you will see a small quarter-point rate cut. That would be the third in a year. That would relieve some pressure on borrowing costs. That might make it a little bit less expensive to borrow money for a new car or for a new home. It might lower credit card interest rates. I'll just remind people they're record highs right now and quite dangerous credit card debt. It also means that you'll get a little bit less for your savings and your high-yield savings accounts and the like if that were to happen. But it's not really a foregone conclusion, but a lot of people are thinking there'll be a little trim in interest rates tomorrow.
All right, we will see tomorrow. Christine Romans, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We're going to continue to monitor the president's rally, but let's head to Miami now, where the hard-fought race for mayor is garnering national attention. Republican Emilio Gonzalez and Democrat Eileen Higgins battling in a runoff tonight as Democrats make a last-minute push to try and turn the mayoral office blue. If Higgins wins, it will be Miami's first Democratic mayor since the late 90s. NBC's Jesse Kirsch is in Miami with more. Jesse, the polls just closed there at 7 p.m. Are we starting to get some numbers in?
We are, Ellison, and I am continually refreshing the results from this community on my computer here right now. What I can tell you right now is, according to the supervisor of elections in Miami-Dade County, according to their website, and this is a constantly updating website, so far there are 108 precincts reporting. We do have all of the early vote in. It was pretty much evenly split between these two candidates. Vote by mail favored heavily toward the Democrat Eileen Higgins, a former county commissioner here in Miami-Dade County. Emilio Gonzalez, the Republican, a former city manager, has a smaller margin in the vote by mail. But in terms of the election day vote coming in so far, it is pretty close, around a 1,500 vote lead for the Democrat at this point. But again, very important to stress here, election day votes are only partially reported. We have 108 of 139 precincts reporting. But as you mentioned, we're less than 20 minutes since the polls have closed here. So we're still going to be waiting for more and more of that data to be coming in here, Alice.
OK, let me ask you kind of on the big picture level. We mentioned there's money and attention on this race nationally from both sides of the aisle. Democrats have done well in elections so far this year, right? They pulled out wins in New York City, California, New Jersey and Virginia. But those, while they were huge wins for them, given what we saw in 2024, those were wins in places and races that lean blue. Miami is different. Take us through some of the dynamics at play here. Do Democrats really have a chance?
Short answer is yes, absolutely. We're looking at a city where former Vice President Kamala Harris narrowly had a victory in 2024, so within the city itself. Miami-Dade County is one of those counties we talk about year after year on election night. It has been trending redder and redder. President Trump lost Miami-Dade County by about 30 points in 2016. Then he lost by about 7 points. And then last year, he won Miami-Dade County by more than 10 points. So this is a county that is trended more for Republicans. We're in a state that has become solidly red. Republicans not just making gains with voters here, but specifically with Latino voters in the state. But this race is getting a lot of attention right now because it's being looked at as a potential bellwether to signal if there are cracks in the Republican shield here in Florida. This is getting attention from people, including Republican Senator Ted Cruz, Democrat and former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, and President Trump himself endorsed Gonzalez in this race. So this is something that is getting attention all the way up to the White House, and we will hopefully pretty soon here have an idea of the results. And the question remains if they are signaling anything more broadly or if they are just a local election, because that is what it is on paper, but it is definitely being treated as something of a national race by politicos all over.
All right. NBC's Jesse Kirsch monitoring the results there in Miami. Thank you. We appreciate it. Now to the winter weather threat unfolding from coast to coast. Tonight, flood watches are in effect for millions across the Pacific Northwest as an atmospheric river slams that region. And fast-moving clippers charging across the Midwest and Northeast with brutal cold refusing to let up. Here's NBC's Aaron McLaughlin.
Tonight in Washington state, homes underwater and roads submerged as an atmospheric river rips through the Northwest with up to 15 inches of rain in the forecast. The famed Snoqualmie Falls raging at its highest point in a decade, leaving much of the state on flood watch, triggering mudslides and forcing water rescues. First responders deploying drones to help guide people to safety. This morning in Lewis County, a hellish commute as firefighters rescued drivers from fast rising waters. While out east, firefighters battled the freeze, extinguishing a blaze at this apartment complex that killed one.
The water, you shut anything off for a minute and everything freezes up. The hose lines freeze up, hydrant freezes up.
All part of the Arctic blast tightening its grip on millions, with temps plunging 10 to 20 degrees below normal and snow from the Midwest to the mid-Atlantic as freezing rain and ice turn the nation's highways treacherous. In Virginia, a harrowing rescue after a Tesla slid off the interstate last Friday. New video shows a state trooper rushing toward the burning vehicle, the driver trapped inside. Meanwhile, in Poughkeepsie, New York, the Meals on Wheels may be hot. But for volunteer Pat Miller, this is also about checking in on the folks in the freezing cold.
And these temps, they're dangerous.
Absolutely. They're dangerous for me. So for them, you know, they're not supposed to be getting out and about.
And winter's over a week away. Are you ready for it?
As ready as I'm going to be. Yeah.
And Allison, more brutal weather is on the way. 2 clipper systems bringing more snow, heavy wind, and yet another Arctic plunge at the weekend. Allison.
Aaron McLaughlin, thank you. We're back in a moment with the terrifying scene in Utah. A hiker getting trapped in quicksand. How crews finally managed to pull him to safety. Plus, the new investigation into Instacart's AI-enabled pricing, why it could be bumping up your grocery costs. And dramatic new video showing a plane crashing into a car on a busy highway in Florida. We'll show you what happened. That's ahead on Top Story. And we're back with a wilderness survival scenario straight out of a movie. A man becoming trapped in quicksand in a Utah national park. The search and rescue team's drone capturing the moment they got him out. NBC's Morgan Chesky spoke to that team.
In Utah, an eye in the sky likely saving one hiker's life. This drone footage capturing the man trying to dig himself out of quicksand.
We're talking like the consistency of wet concrete.
Rescuers racing to a remote canyon deep inside Arches National Park. The crew finding Austin Dirks trapped, his legs locked in near freezing temps. Fearful of being grabbed themselves, rescuers use stretchers, shovels, and a ladder to help get Dirks to firm ground.
How quickly can this quicksand grab you?
It's got a good bite. It's the more people struggle, the deeper they go.
Experts say incidents are rare.
Stay back, Gilligan, it's quicksand.
More often seen on screen in TV shows or movies like Indiana Jones.
Grab the rope.
The biggest threat in this case was the cold weather, to be submerged even partially in that near freezing water was the biggest concern.
Dirk's GPS device giving rescuers precise coordinates on where to find him.
Having a device that can communicate via satellite can sometimes mean the difference between life and death.
A rescue operation gone right after a rare but dangerous threat.
Being there for someone in their time of need is one of the things that keeps me coming back to this job.
Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
And Morgan joins us now from Los Angeles. I mean, Morgan, listening to that rescuer as you interviewed him talking about the importance of having some sort of GPS device, because that's what led them to this trapped hiker. Did they have any other safety tips for people as they venture out and go for a hike?
Yeah, Allison, authorities say that they can't stress enough the importance of having some sort of GPS device on them. In this case, the hiker had a Garmin inReach that was able to send out an emergency signal. Recent cell phones, including the iPhone, do have a feature where you can send communications via satellite. However, authorities say that you don't want to rely on one single device. In this case, the hiker was fortunate enough to send out that signal and draw crews to that exact location. Authorities also said that it wouldn't be the quicksand that would have potentially killed this individual, but it would be the sheer exposure to those elements, those temperatures in that shaded canyon at or around freezing, and that's why authorities are so glad they were able to reach this man when they did. Wow. Allison.
That is amazing. NBC's Morgan Chesky, thank you. And coming up on Top Story, the struggle to stay warm this winter as many Americans face higher prices to heat their homes, what you can do to keep costs down. Plus, the race to rescue this young whale off the coast of Georgia after it got tangled in fishing gear. But first, Top Story's top moment. An 11-year-old Wicked mega fan performing a show-stopping rendition of the song Defying Gravity at the dentist. Take a listen.
Never gonna bring
I mean, that is amazing. Ian's mom said the teen played the song after they heard him humming Defying Gravity during his dental procedure. And as soon as he heard, he couldn't help but belts it out. Stay with us. More news is on the way. We're back now with a story we brought you last night about a plane making a crash landing on a highway in Florida, colliding with a car. NBC's George Solis has dramatic new dashcam video of the incident.
Watch as the plane tries to make an emergency landing, rapidly descending, then crashing on top of a car. You can see the sparks flying as the plane slides on the roadway, then comes to an abrupt stop on the guardrail. The damaged car right behind it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Father and son Jim and Peter Coffey were in the car, watching it all unfold.
Out of nowhere, that plane came down and it was shock.
Yeah.
Total shock.
Was there any moment where you thought this is going to hit us?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. It was way too close.
A 57-year-old woman was inside this Toyota Camry.
We saw it coming, and everyone on the opposite side of the road saw it coming, but, she did not see it coming.
According to fire rescue, miraculously, she suffered only minor injuries. It happened Monday evening near Florida's Space Coast. The NTSB says the plane departed Merritt Island, Florida on an instructional flight, and following a loss of power in both engines, the pilot made a forced landing. The two 27-year-old men on board were not hurt, according to the Florida Highway Patrol. Tonight, the investigation into this scary close call is ongoing.
And George Solis joins us now with more. I mean, George, it's amazing to see that video and think people actually survived this, right? All of them. So what else do we know about the woman in the car who survived?
Yeah, Ellison, it's nothing short of remarkable. So that 57-year-old was taken to a local hospital there, minor injuries. That father and son tell us that as soon as they were able to, they pulled over to try and lend a hand. But by that point, other people were also lending a hand. They're also saying the first responder response was almost instant. Before they could even get out of the car to offer a hand, they said they were already seeing those flashing lights of people ready to help. Ellison?
George Solis, thank you. Feed and an update to a story we first broke. An Army gynecologist has been criminally charged after he was accused of secretly filming dozens of women who were patients. Dr. Blaine McGraw was charged with 54 counts of indecent recording and other charges. We first reported here on NBC News that according to Army investigators, at least 30 women were photographed or videotaped by him without their knowledge while they were patients. His lawyer just responded in a statement saying in part, quote, "We have not seen the charges. We continue to be cooperative while maintaining that no non-medically indicated touching occurred." And authorities in South Carolina say someone used a drone to drop a package inside a prison yard, but it never made it to any inmates. Guards grabbed it first, and here's what they say they found inside: a raw steak still in the grocery store wrapper, crab legs with a tin of Old Bay seasoning, bags full of marijuana, and a couple of cartons of cigarettes. Prison officials say they are investigating. So far, no word of any arrests. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers is returning to the football field. Multiple outlets reporting he just signed with the Indianapolis Colts practice squad after working out with the team last night. Several of the Colts quarterbacks have gone down with injuries this year. Rivers retired after the 2020 season and has been coaching high school football in Alabama ever since. If he suits up, he could become the third oldest starting quarterback in NFL history. And a big announcement here at 30 Rock. Chanel Jones will now be joining Jenna Bush Hager as the permanent co-host of the fourth hour of Today. Jones joined Weekend Today in 2014 and was named co-host of the third hour a few years later. Today with Jenna and Chanel is set to begin in January. As the cold weather settles across the country, millions of Americans are turning up the thermostat, but it is already bringing sticker shock to some, with energy prices set to soar this winter. Here's NBC's Tom Costello.
With much of the country in winter's grip, the boiling point for many Americans is simply staying warm.
So our bill was $830 last month. It's $1,253 this month. Tell me how.
Turning to TikTok to vent.
Why is it so expensive?
The cost of heating our homes projected to rise 7.6% this winter. $54 more for families heating with gas, up $100, 10% for those heating with electricity. The average home heating bill for the entire winter, $976, rising more than double the rate of inflation. In Metro Boston, Ethel Sykes lives on a fixed income and is struggling to stay warm.
The cost has never been like this before. It's worse.
Ethel is getting heating assistance through the Action for Boston Community Development, part of the low-income energy assistance program available in most states. To keep your home warm and costs down, experts recommend changing the furnace filters to maximize warm airflow, insulating attics, crawl spaces, and pipes, sealing windows with weather stripping or plastic film insulation kits, using space heaters that have tip-over cutoff switches, and keep your thermostat at sweater warm, not T-shirt warm. The good news, the cost of heating propane and oil are down roughly $60 this winter.
You have to be warm. And you have to eat. So you improvise.
As for why electricity and heat are so much more expensive, analysts say gas prices are higher because global demand for natural gas is going through the roof. In addition, the transportation costs of getting that natural gas to your home have gone up. And electricity is up because AI data centers are sucking up so much electricity that is also driving costs even higher. Ellison?
Tom Costello, thank you. Next tonight, how much do you pay for groceries? If you use Instacart, AI-enabled pricing experiments may be inflating your receipt. A new investigation out from Consumer Reports finds prices on household staples varied widely from one customer to the next. For example, the price on this jar of Skippy peanut butter anywhere from $2.99 to $3.99 at the same store in Seattle for shoppers on the same day. That's a variance of 23%. Add those costs up over the course of a year, and according to estimates from Consumer Reports, that could translate into a cost swing of about $1,200 a year. Here with more, the journalist behind that investigation, Derek Kravitz, with Consumer Reports. I mean, Derek, this is a fascinating report. So when shoppers open the Instacart app, they just see one price, but you recruited hundreds of volunteers to track prices they were shown. Tell us more about this test and ultimately what you found.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So Consumer Reports is great because we have so many members that are willing to do these experiments with us. And so we had them actually go on Instacart and shop for items all at the same time, usually online with us, but also in person, and figure out what prices they were seeing. Some of them had been loyal Instacart users for years. Others just downloaded the app for the first time. And really what we saw was a lot of price variance. Around 3/4 of the grocery products we looked at had some sort of algorithmic pricing experiment going on. And the average percentage was about 13%, but the highest was 23%. So really this matters, especially, as grocery prices have increased at the fastest rate since the late 1970s.
So in a statement, Instacart telling NBC News, quote, "These tests are not dynamic pricing. Prices never change in real time, including in response to supply and demand. The tests are never based on personal or behavioral characteristics. They are completely randomized." What do you make of that argument?
Yeah, so we talked with Instacart starting in October and gave them all of our data. And a lot of the things that they talk about really reflect how many companies view algorithmic or dynamic pricing. There's a lot of different terms for this. But really, at the end of the day, this is trying to make as much money as possible, finding the perfect price point or a buyer's price sensitivity. And this is a special metric or a specific price point for every product that, based on your shopping history or your behavior or various other metrics, is unique to you. And if they group you into another several different customers buying the same products, then it's all the better because they know that this particular price point will appeal to you and you will buy more and you will keep buying.
So some experts are concerned that these tactics could evolve into surveillance pricing, right? Explain that to us. What could that look like?
Yeah, another term, surveillance pricing, is actually when they use personal identifiers or demographics or other things in order to inform either those prices or promotions or discounts or various other things that influence the final price you see on store shelves or through apps with e-commerce delivery shopping programs. Really, at the end of the day, a lot of regulators don't want this to happen because if this gets to the point where all of our information is being used to influence the prices we see, that really makes a price point or a sale or any transparent price meaningless. It means that we can't trust the prices that we see in front of our own eyes. And that's a little scary for most consumers.
Yeah, to say the least. Consumer Reports' Derek Kravitz, thank you so much. We appreciate you and your time tonight.
Thank you.
Still ahead on Top Story, new video of that art heist in Brazil. One suspect now in custody as the search for the stolen pieces from Matisse intensifies. That is next. Welcome back. Heading overseas now to Brazil. Authorities still searching for 8 pieces of art by Matisse stolen in broad daylight. Here's NBC's Raf Sanchez with the details and new video of the escape.
A dramatic heist at the speed of a Sunday stroll. Video capturing the moment Brazilian authorities say 2 men calmly walked out of a library in Sao Paulo, carrying more than a dozen stolen artworks, 8 of them by French master Henri Matisse. They're later highlighted in this footage released by city officials, a few blocks away after changing clothes, carrying the prints out of a car and leaving them on the street next to a pile of garbage, before coming back to pick them up. Police say they've now arrested one of the men, but so far they haven't recovered the stolen works. We spoke to Sao Paulo's culture secretary.
How does it feel to see this robbery happening in broad daylight?
I felt like the French felt when the Louvre Museum was robbed in broad daylight, he says. It's been nearly 2 months since the brazen heist at the Louvre Museum in Paris. Thieves making off with $100 million worth of France's crown jewels. French police have made several arrests, but so far, no sign of the stolen treasures. And outcome detectives in Brazil are racing to avoid.
And one of the big concerns in all of these stolen art cases is that the items could be taken outside of the country. City officials in Sao Paulo tell us that they have alerted not only the national police and the border police in Brazil, but also Interpol. So at this point, you have authorities in Latin America, but also around the world on high alert, looking out for these stolen pieces of art. Elsa.
Raf Sanchez, thank you. Back here at home to the race to save a young whale off the coast of Georgia. A team of researchers working to free a North Atlantic right whale nicknamed Division after he got stuck in commercial fishing gear. Entanglements like this one are one of the greatest threats to this type of whale. In fact, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, says more than 85% of right whales have been trapped in fishing gear at least once in their lives. I want to bring in someone who was part of this rescue effort, Jessica Thompson. She is a senior wildlife biologist for the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us on Top Story tonight. You were one of the first to respond after the whale was reported entangled. Talk to me about what you saw when you got to the scene and how you went about the process of trying to help.
Yeah, so actually when we got to the scene, it was very much what we saw. It was very much like what we see when we arrive doing some of our other work with mom-calf pairs or other whales off the coast here. But what was really different about arriving on the scene to this was that between when we got the call and when we arrived on scene, partners that were land-based, so Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, Clearwater Marine Aquarium, NOAA, federal and state partners, Center for Coastal Studies, were already analyzing photographs received from the aerial survey team of that whale, how the entanglement and the lines wrapped around its body were positioned on its body, and assessing if we did anything that day, if that would help or hurt the whale. And so it was determined once we got there that attaching a buoy to that whale, to the trailing line behind the whale, would be beneficial. And so we really rely on the circling plane that's going around the whale to give us information and communicate with us about what the whale is doing.
So, I mean, this actual rescue, it took you 2 days, right? But I understand the whale is still partially entangled. What happens next?
So what happens next is that this whale is monitored by multiple teams along the East Coast. In the Southeast, we have aerial survey teams that are work every good weather day off the coast from North Carolina to Florida. And we are looking to confirm any sightings or locations and reports of this whale. And depending on what is observed by teams, we will then make a plan to move forward.
And really quickly before we let you go, because we mentioned these are common encounters or common things that happen according to NOAA's estimates, and entanglements, those can end in serious injuries or even death for whales. What can be done, what should be done to prevent these kinds of entanglements?
So the work that we did on the water, many people can say that that was pretty courageous, maybe even crazy, but the most courageous thing that can be done is the people that work behind the scenes to make sure that this type of commercial fishing line is out of the water and out of the habitat that the whales are using. And so management, the people communicating and making sure, working with fisheries to make sure that this type of commercial fishing gear is out of the habitat where the whales are, and continuously progressing and using technologies to reduce the amount of times that whales get entangled in fishing line.
Jessica Thompson, thank you for what you do, and thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Stay with us, because when we come back, the sweet and savory treat that is sparking a frenzy online. Have you seen this? Grocery stores' ice cream cones dipped in butter. Stew Leonard joins us next on Top Story for a taste test of the viral creation. You won't want to miss it.
I can't even explain how good this is.
Immediately no. It's like a little bit salty, and then it just like turns into a grease. That's not bad. Hold up. up. If you have a Stew Leonard's near you, you need to go try.
That was the mixed reaction over the viral butter-dipped ice cream at Stew Leonard's grocery stores. You heard that right. The Connecticut-based grocer is selling vanilla soft-serve cones, but instead of the classic chocolate or cherry dip, it's pure melted butter topped with a sprinkle of salt. Joining us now to talk about the slightly controversial confection is CEO Stew Leonard Jr. Stew, thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited to talk to you about this. I've been looking forward to it all day. So ice cream and butter. I'm from the South, and I think my grandmother would tell you you should and can put butter on anything. But how did you come up with this particular combo?
You know, we just saw one of our people at the store saw it trending on TikTok. So we said, let's add it to the ice cream parlor at Stew Leonard. We did that. We have over 20 million views on TikTok right now. We've sold thousands of these things. And I don't know why you call it controversial, because everybody I've met, some of them, like my mother, tasted it and she said, not my favorite. But she didn't say she didn't like it. So most people go from it's pretty good to like, wow, you know, and they're surprised.
That's fair. I mean, you mentioned some of the numbers, thousands of sales. Numbers can tell us a lot, right? People often vote with their wallets or their choices. So what have your sales been like? I mean, are you seeing an overall uptick because of this?
Crazy. It's, you know, it's sort of a fad in a way. It's going to go away. I don't think you'll, it's 30 degrees outside and people are waiting in line to get an ice cream cone, butter ice cream cone. You want me to show you how we make one?
So let me talk before we get into, I do want to try one with you in a minute. I think I have some here, but you guys are known for like a pretty unique shopping experience, right? For people who have not had the pleasure of visiting one of your stores. I mean, you have animatronics throughout the store, lots of fun and creative products, right? What is next after butter ice cream? Are you already thinking ahead? How do you top it?
You know what I have to do? Rely on TikTok, because they usually will let you know when something's like really hot. You know, we have a cookie milk at the store that we did for the holidays. We could only order so many glass bottles. You know, our business started 100 years ago by my grandfather delivering milk in glass bottles. So we tried this cookie milk. That thing's got millions of views on TikTok. You just have to ride these little trends. I don't know what's coming around the corner. I never would have expected butter ice cream to be this popular.
But here we are, right? Okay, so Stu, before you go, we do need to do a taste test, right? I have a cone. I'm told you have a cone. I saw it. Some people nearby with you may be ready to try it. This is our producer, Natalie. Natalie, you can try too. Should we do this all together? Okay, ready? 3?
Step 1.
Yeah.
Step 1 ice cream cone. And by the way, you know who was doing this last Wednesday at our Yonkers store? Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller.
They had Ben Stiller. We have Natalie Bennett. There you go. I think it's a matchup. Should we try it? Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. I started in this thing. That's not a good looking cone right there. Okay. So, but anyway, I'm going to use it anyway. Let's go dip it right now. Ooh, so we have the butter right here. See, here's the butter. Okay.
See, we're watching you dip it. We're already eating ours.
Check it out now. Here we go. You know what I'm going to do? A little secret, double dip butter.
Okay.
We're going to double it. It creates a shell right on there. And then you take a little bit of sea salt, sprinkle it on the top, and voila. I hope nobody at Stew Leonard sees what a terrible looking ice cream cone I made. But anyway.
I think it looks good, Stu.
Do you want to all taste it together?
Yeah, let's. I mean, we've been going. Let's try again.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to do it. Wow. Okay. It's cool. You got a creamy ice cream, and then you have like a little sweet. It almost tastes like you get a real sweetness.
It's interesting, you know, have you ever seen that viral kombucha video where she takes a sip and she's like, oh, wait. That's how I feel, Stu. I'm like, wait, what? A lot's happening. And then I'm like settling and I'm like, okay, I can get on board. Stew Leonard Jr., thank you so much. Natalie Bennett, thank you for the ice cream. Cheers to that. We appreciate you. Stay right there. More news is on the way.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.